Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. This is MEmoTalks episode 5. Joining me, as always, is the lovely and radiant Chey. How are you doing today, Chey?
I am great, thank you. How are you?
I am doing awesome. It has been an amazing week.
It's been a very interesting week.
Yes, it's been a very interesting week. So we kind of mentioned it last week. 2021 is not going to be the magical reset, and there's definitely been an event that we don't want to make a big deal about, but it definitely does prove that 2021 is not going to magically reset like we wanted it to. But the event in question is something that we do want to discuss. We want to kind of address it just a little bit because it is a pretty big thing. If for some reason you're unaware, there was an attack at the U.S. Capitol during the Electoral College voting process. This attack was basically um, domestic terrorists. It was a domestic
I mean,
terrorist
yeah,
attack.
I don't know how else to phrase that. Yeah, pretty much for the
Um,
most part.
and for the most part, we like to try to stay pretty neutral when it comes to things like politics because, um, when it comes to politics, everybody has different viewpoints. We just wanted to kind of be as neutral as we possibly can when it comes to things like that. Um, but I feel like this event kind of surpasses politics.
There's like a
In
point where you have to draw the line, and when
Exactly.
you're literally breaking the country's laws and storming into government buildings with weapons, it's not about politics anymore. You're actually a terrorist. So that's why it kind of needs to be addressed. It's not about Democrats or Republicans or independents. If you're independent, it literally comes down to either you're a just person who is going to follow our country's rules and laws, or you're not. And that's why we
Mhm.
kind of wanted to just bring it up and touch on it just really quick.
Yeah, like I said, we're not going to make a big discussion about it, like Shay and I tend to do with everything. But we do want to address the fact that as as content creators in the Mimo Talks hemisphere, in my Twitch channel, everything like that, we just wanted to say, as a general rule of thumb, if you feel like you might sympathize with the domestic terrorists that literally attacked our country, um, then this place is not for you. This is not content that we would like for you to consume. This is not content that is made for you.
We're pretty liberal, I feel like.
we,
So
we are pretty liberal, yes, but that's
yeah.
I feel like that's not like the central. The thing is, we're not making content for people who are going to use violence as a way to overthrow our government. Our government's not perfect. Nothing is, no government is perfect. Our government is probably more likely, further from perfect than most governments. But at the same time, we still do not support people who violently attempt to overthrow our government.
Yeah.
So if you
You
sympathize with
can you
that,
can peacefully do that. That's protests and
mhm,
utilizing your rights are totally fine. But when you make it violent and you break into people's buildings and you put people in danger, that's where it's no longer a protest. That's you're violating literally the law.
yeah, absolutely. So that's all we're gonna say on it. If you for some reason side with the people that are going and storming and attempting to take government officials hostages, then goodbye. Don't let the Memo door hit you on your Memo way out. That being said, let's talk about some other things. We're not
Some
talking about
lighter
now.
topics, yeah.
Yes.
Well, like you said, we all thought kind of 2021 was going to be kind of a reset. So I personally would like to kind of talk about kind of the goals and exciting things that I have planned coming up, and just things we're looking forward to, and kind of keep it lighthearted, being with everything that's going on in the country right now. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited for The Witcher 2, which is going to be coming out on
The
Netflix this
TV
year.
show.
Hopefully, granted, yes, the TV show. Is it? Well, I guess, can you count Netflix as a TV show?
I would say
Technically,
yes.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
one
Well,
hundred
then,
percent.
yes, TV show for sure. Then, I really liked The Witcher season 1, which says a lot for me. If you all don't know, I'm not a big TV movie person.
She's
So the
not.
fact that I really enjoyed it says a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm actually really excited for it to come out. I don't know about everybody else, but one of the very few things that I have missed during quarantine is being able to go see movies and actually like having the theater and the big screen and the loud sounds and stuff like that. And so having something that I'm excited for
Yes.
coming out is going to be
Yes.
great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I literally went to school for videography for movies. I'm one of those pretentious film people that goes and tells you why your favorite movie is terrible. That is me, and I love movies. I would love to go to movies now, but obviously not possible. I cannot
Yeah.
wait for movies to come up. But you did bring up The Witcher. Um, probably one of my favorite high fantasy TV shows since Game of Thrones.
Okay, interesting. And now that you've said that, you had the film background, that's interesting
Mhm.
to me that you are a fan of it and you're not gonna like tear it apart and shut it right now.
So, okay,
Uh,
well, I do wanna say it is my favorite it's my favorite high fantasy series since Game of Thrones. Um, maybe not the best cinematographically,
mhm.
but, it's just good fun. It's, like, a good show, it has a really great story, Henry Cavill, I mean, we love to see it. I don't know, who's the actress that plays, Yennefer? My
Oh god, I'm
goodness.
so worthless with that. Hang on, let me look. I'm so
Right.
worthless when it comes to it. The actress was
Anya Shalatra?
yeah, I don't want to butcher her name. I apologize if that's wrong, but
Yeah.
yes. I'm pretty sure that's how you would say it.
Yeah,
She's phenomenal.
amazing.
I want
Amazing.
to say I'm not a film buff. I don't like TV series very much, but I think that the casting for everybody in The Witcher, for the most part, like all the main characters at least,
Mhm.
was so good. Yennefer is on point. Geralt
Yes.
is on point. I
Yes.
can't remember the name of his sidekick because they changed it from the books to the show, but whatever his name is,
So, it's actually really
so
funny.
good.
So his name is Jasker in the TV series. Um, I read, well, I actually didn't read the books. I listened to the audiobooks, and they call him Dandelion.
Yes, and see that's why I was like so confused because they're not related at all.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. They call him Dandelion, but the author has actually come out and said, well, his name is Dandelion, like the flower.
Mhm.
But like the audiobooks call him Dandelion, and then for the TV show they named him Jasker, which I don't know. I actually never played the video game,
You
so
gotta
maybe
say
that's
it
a
with
thing
a
for the video.
sexy accent. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best part. But yeah, no, the casting was phenomenal. The
Yes.
special effects were also phenomenal. I
Mhm.
agree with you, that maybe the cinematography isn't like the best, being that it's such a big production thing, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
Um, I also okay,
So
you brought it up, so I have to ask, and I know like this is controversial, but great Game of Thrones, just real quick, ending, yes or no?
it ruined the entire series for me.
It ruined the entire series. Like, there were definitely some seasons that were stronger than others leading up,
Mhm.
but, like, the last season, all of it can just, like, get
It was
out.
hot garbage.
Go.
It was hot garbage. No, absolutely.
Hot
Like
garbage is an overstatement.
it was cold garbage. You're right. It was like day
And
old
that
garbage.
garbage is even not even worthy. Like, whatever is beneath garbage, like,
Oof.
burn
Yeah,
it.
no, the last season definitely was a huge letdown. Like
Right.
such a big letdown. I would say for me, like I was definitely the person that like bought the seasons as they were coming out.
Oh, really?
In anticipation of the next season coming out, I would rewatch the series from the beginning. So like I've watched through that over and over and over again. The second to last season, it was like, okay, not my favorite, but it's building up to something. Like literally the excuse that I made myself was like the sixth season because it was the seventh season was the last one, right?
Yes, that was well, thank God, yes.
Yeah. So the sixth season was bad. It wasn't the greatest. It was pretty bad, but my in my brain I was like, it's bad because they are building up to something in the next season. And Nope. They just
Nope, not at all. No, they just
threw a bunch
decided
of
to
stuff
end
at the
it on the
wall.
most pathetic,
Oh my
useless,
gosh.
just stupid ending ever. We won't get into it because I don't think people want to hear it, but oh my god. Like, again, I'm not a TV and movie person, and that is exactly why. Because people do shit just so poorly. And like, how do you go from doing like such good seasons, like they were doing so well, like one was
Yes.
okay, and then two was a little bit better, and then three was a little bit better, and like it was so good, and then they just were like, oh yeah, all these years we spent building a great story with like tons of cool plot lines that we could totally like intertwine and have a great and nah. Just throw it out, completely twist the main character,
Mhm.
get rid of a bunch of other people, make sure we promote that one guy to king who's handicapped and has no like just no, no,
Yeah. It was
no.
it was shockingly bad.
Yeah. I am willing to say shockingly is not even appropriate. I remember at work when we went in the next day, everybody was just we were rioting at work. Like we stopped working and we all just argued for like 2 hours because we were all just so angry about the ending. Like you've invested so much time watching all these seasons and then it ends like that. Oh
Yep.
man.
Yep. Oh yeah,
Sorry,
absolutely.
I just had to because you brought it up. I completely forgot about Game of Thrones and you reignited my hatred.
Yeah, no, I no, I'm not mad. It was just it's it was such a bad rap. And like the funny thing is that like I don't know if this was ever like proven, but I had heard that the showrunners basically they wanted to stop making Game of Thrones because they were invited by Disney to make a Star Wars TV show.
Mm.
And so they were like, let's finish with Game of Thrones and move on because we'd rather do Star Wars. And the last season of Game of Thrones was so bad that Disney was like, maybe not. Let's not do the Star Wars TV series. So
Yeah. I think I will never watch anything else they ever produce ever again.
yeah, no, it's honestly same. Like that was like just such a horrible disaster.
Made
What
no
was not
sense.
horrible though, The Witcher, um, great TV show.
Great
It
TV. If you haven't seen it, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen it, honestly, like go watch
yes.
it because it's great. It's got the fantasy, it's got a little bit of romance, it's got a lot of humor, which is something I liked. It was good
Hmm.
humor, not cheesy humor. Like there's something for everybody. There's fights, for the guys who want a little bit more of that kind of thing. There's a little bit of gore. It's not that bad. I'm a giant coward, but it wasn't that bad for me. So I feel like I can say anybody else would be fine.
And I was and like on a different note, there's Yennefer for Eye Candy. There's Henry Cavill for Eye Candy.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it is a like every single aspect of that show is great, and I think even like the second to last and the last episodes were like the build up to them was so perfectly done that I was feeling like I don't want to say anxious, but that's like the only word that comes to mind. Like I was just like anxious while I was watching the events that had like reached that point, like kind of like unfold and like
Like kind of worried for the characters almost even.
yeah. So it's like
Mhm.
so that there was like a certain amount of worry for the characters. It was also just kind of like in a way just a little bit nerve-wracking watching like these story like the kind of like story that was kind of like being told throughout the first season kind of not it doesn't really come to a finalization because it definitely continues but like just like the boiling point that it reaches in the first season was like phenomenal.
Phenomenal. Yes, that's a great word for it. And I have to say, I love something that I know a lot of people liked about Game of Thrones is that like they just like killed everybody off. Like no one was safe. I
Hmm.
like that they did a lot of that too in The Witcher, but like the deaths made sense.
Yes.
They fit very well into the story. They were a lot of them were still very shocking, but like they made sense, and it was great because it was like, oh my gosh, but like it didn't mess up the story. It wasn't unreasonable, and I think that's
Mhm.
awesome. They made that perfect balance between the two.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like there were definitely characters where it was like I don't want this person to die because I love them like as characters, and I think that was like one of the weird things about it is like you don't really spend a lot of time with the characters that end up having a huge impact in the finale of the first season,
Hmm.
but you get to know them enough that you care about them.
They have, yeah, exactly. They have just enough screen time that you kind of bond with them and want them to be okay. Yeah, like especially with all like the witches and wizards, like especially Tisea, she was one of my favorites. I'm
Yes.
so happy she lived. I would have been sad if she had died.
Spoilers. Just kidding.
I know a lot of people probably don't like her just because like how harsh her character is, but I
Yeah.
love that about her. We need more characters like that in shows. I feel like at least, but
Yeah, she
yeah,
she she
just
was
all the way
tough. She
around.
was tough, but she was like standing for basically what she believed in,
Hmm.
like the most. And she was making the hard decisions that needed to be made. I felt.
Exactly. Yeah, and she was making them with like poise and elegance and
Mhm.
knowledge, and she didn't back down, and I appreciate that in a character. Um, and that's another thing, going back to like the characters, just a lot of really good, strong characters.
Yes.
No one that's like super stereotypical, no one that's just like a generic, they all are very unique and they all have very unique personalities, which I think is another thing that people like, but they're still relatable. They're not so far out of the realm of possibility that you can still connect with them and still kind of feel, connected to them.
Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. No. I definitely agree. There's probably one thing that I did not like about the books that I was hoping that they would change in the TV show that they didn't. And it was the Last Wish storyline. Did you say you read the books?
I did. I did not read all of them.
So so one of the things that I thought was really interesting, which by the way, just kind of as a heads up, if you are going to start watching The Witcher, um, it takes place over two timelines. It was
Oh
very
yeah, that's
confusing.
very important to know. I feel like
Yes.
that was people's biggest complaint when I was like looking at
Hmm.
reviews was that it is a little bit jumpy. So if you aren't super
Yes.
familiar with the storyline, just kind of know that things that are happening are not happening in like
At
a
the same
direct
time.
timeline. It's
Yeah.
two separate timelines and they are kind of jumping back and forth between the two, which is
Yes.
especially hard being that like Yennefer and Geralt don't really age, so they look the same in both for the most part.
Hmm.
So that part's a little confusing, but
Yeah.
I get why they did it, I guess, to a kind of a
I
degree.
they definitely wanted to introduce the war with Niflheim, um, because that's like the major plot point in like the third book forward. Because the first two books are actually like each chapter is a short story.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I
Um,
kind of wish they would have followed that premise. I think they could have done like this current story where they were at, of like Yennefer and Geralt, and then like the war and him trying to find Ciri, and then maybe like pausing a couple episodes in and doing like a very obvious flashback to then display like the war and everything that like led up to it, like the wish and all those things. I feel like that would have been a little bit smoother for people who hadn't read the books, but it is what it
yeah,
is.
I think they did they I feel like they did a good enough job. I just kind of feel like they waited way too long to explain that there was two timelines.
Mhm.
So up until then, you're just like super confused. Like, why is it that there's this like huge war going on, and then it just cuts to this other thing, and like they're not talking about the war at all. Nobody is
Mhm.
reacting to it. So like that was very confusing. But then
Yeah.
when they finally explain, oh, that actually hasn't happened yet, then it makes a lot more sense. But until you get to that point, it's kind of confusing.
Mhm.
But
I was literally about to, oh, sorry, go ahead.
that's actually not the thing that I was going to complain about though. The thing that I was going to complain about was the storyline of the Last Wish, which is the second Witcher book. The Last Wish is the whole storyline between how Geralt met Yennefer. Um, Basically, he wishes that their destinies are tied together so that Yennefer lives. I'm trying to make this as spoiler free as possible.
Yeah.
He wishes that him and Yennefer's destinies are tied together so that she doesn't die. But then it makes her basically madly in love with him.
Yeah, he doesn't, the wish is not specifically like that she's in love with him. He just wishes that they will be tied together forever.
Yes.
And so a big part of the TV series that they not explaining that is you're not really sure, and she even says this herself, is that she doesn't know if she actually cares about him or if it's the wish that is forcing her to, and she doesn't know if her
Exactly.
feelings are genuine.
Exactly. So like I just kind of felt like, as a like when I was reading the books, it just kind of felt like um weird. It just kind of seems like he's forcing this woman to love
Mhm.
her, to love him. I was hoping that they had changed that in the TV series, but they didn't.
I'm hoping they will, because there's one episode, and I'm sorry, I don't know which one it is, but where one of them says like, "Why do we keep running into each other?" or something along the lines of that. Like they very blatantly say like that they can't get away from each other.
Yeah.
And of course, like later on, he says that that's why. But so I'm hoping that they will pull it in a different direction the second season, and I don't know what they could do with it, but something a little bit different.
But yeah, no, so yeah, getting back on topic since you mentioned it. Second season coming out eventually. It is currently filming. Super excited. I kind of, because I've read the books, some of the books. I haven't read all of them, but I kind of know a little bit where the story is going, and based on the changes that they've made in the TV series, I can kind of see how they're going to be slightly diverging, and I am kind of excited about that. Um, so yeah, I'm super excited for The Witcher 2.
I'm super excited. It's supposed to come out, if there's no delays, on August 17th is the current
Well,
release date.
was that release date set before or after Henry Cavill had his injury on set?
That's why I said I don't know. That I just Google it. That is still what is posted on Netflix, site. But
Okay.
with that might not account for his injury. But even with his injury, hopefully, it should only delay it maybe a couple weeks. So it should still come out this year. Hopefully, fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But I am, the thing is, I had put off watching the first season for such a long time that like now I regret how long I waited to watch it. It was
Oh,
so
did
good.
you wait to watch it?
Yes.
Okay. See, I jumped on the train about a week after it was released, and I was like, sure, why not?
Well, okay, so a little bit of background as to why I waited so long to watch it. It was actually because I was working 12-hour overnight shifts at a call center when it first came out.
That's rough.
So, well, I mean, it was nice for like watching TV because I could just pull out my phone. I mean, we didn't get a whole lot of calls overnight. It was mostly data entry. So I would literally just pull out my phone and watch movies or Netflix on my phone while I was working. And I started watching. Wait, no, wait. Was I working at the call center? What when did The Witcher come out?
Oh gosh, I have no idea.
Oh,
Within the last like 10 months, because I was in this apartment. Let me look.
okay.
Yeah, that's how that's so crappy. That's how I keep track of when things come out based on where I was living at the time.
Well, because okay, so
Sorry.
actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think that I was working at the call center when The Witcher came out. I think I was working at my current job last year.
It came out December 20th of 2019.
Yeah, okay.
That was
So
its
it
official release.
was my current job, but last year.
Mhm.
I was working in an office, again, data entry, so I would just get my phone, put it on this little stand and like watch TV. Started watching The Witcher in the office, lots of boobies, turned it off, didn't get back into it for a very long time.
Oh yeah,
So
not safe for work.
yeah, not safe for definitely not safe for work. Like literally the first season, I mean the first episode, just watching it and I was like, I'm gonna have to turn this off. No, I am in an office. I'm a workspace right now. It's my fault though. There's very clear warnings. I just ignored them.
Yeah,
So
well, I mean, I don't think you expected them to be like. Again, I don't want to like spoil a ton of stuff, but you know what scene I'm talking about when he goes to meet her, and I was just like, "Whoa!"
yeah.
I was not ready.
hmm No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
So
But yeah, The Witcher, amazing. Can't wait for season two. Surprise hit of Netflix. And
yeah.
when you get no, I'm changing the subject. We're talking about something else now.
Okay.
Sorry, that wasn't very clear. I'm making clear now. Surprise hit for me. And once you get a Netflix account, I will lend you my Netflix account. You need to watch this show.
Okay.
You need to watch this show. It is amazing. It's a little Korean show called Sweet Home. Have you heard of it?
Sweet Home. No, not at all. Is it Korean,
Oh,
like in Korean with subtitles, or like Korean show but like
in
in
Korean with
English?
subtitles. I mean,
Okay.
they have an English dub, but I can't stand the English dubs for anything because
Mhm.
it never. I mean, well, no, with live action.
It's
I
never
mean,
good.
anime is
It's
fine, whatever. It's but with live action, it never even comes close to matching their mouth flaps. So
Mhm.
so I've been watching it in Korean with English subtitles. Sweet Home. It is based off of a webtoon,
Okay.
like a comic, basically that's somebody wrote and posted online. Phenomenal show, like absolutely amazing. It's like a horror adventure drama, I
Okay.
guess is the best way to describe it. Basically, what the premise of the story is, um, it's like this super apartment complex. I guess is the only way that I can think to describe it. The bottom floor is like a shopping center, and then it's all these like apartments and condos in this like skyscraper, obviously in Korea. And one day they wake up and all of the shutters in the bottom floor for the stores are like closed and locked, and like they can't leave the building. And then they find out that somebody had done that to protect them because people in the world are like turning into these crazy demons.
Oh gosh. Okay.
And like they're turning into these like crazy demons, and it's like basically the apocalypse. So it's like these people who are like inside of this apartment complex, and of course, because it's a huge apartment complex, some of the people inside the apartment complex also turned into these demons. So like they
Mm.
basically like make like a safe place on the bottom floor, and there's people like in their apartments like trying to survive, and like there's these people that are like traveling throughout the skyscraper, and like different floors have like these demons that are just like walking around.
Okay.
It
Interesting.
is
Wow.
Yeah, it is great. The demons are super like well thought out because they're like kind of so without spoiling too much, the demons are based on the person's biggest desire. Um like for example, there's one demon in it that their when they were a human, their son died. And like I guess like the way that the show describes it is like they were reaching out, well, like for their son
Hmm.
when the son died, but they couldn't reach the son. So like his biggest desire, like his brain, he was like, if my arms were longer, I probably would have been able to grab my son and save him. So like when he turns into a
Uh,
demon, he has these super long, stretchy arms.
darn.
So like, but like it's like this crazy adventure with like fun gore, which sounds weird to say, but that's really the best way to describe it. But it's also like really grounded by the really intricate and interesting character storylines.
That does sound super interesting. You already know this, I'm kind of a coward when it comes to horror stuff, but it sounds like it would be interesting enough that I would still be interested in it.
Yeah, it's really good. I definitely recommend it. I haven't finished it, but that's only because it's difficult to read a TV show while I'm doing data entry. So
Yeah.
haven't finished it, but I have loved every moment that I've watched it. And
Sounds
like
super interesting.
the character drama, not stupid or over the top. It's like really human. You know what I mean?
Okay, I love that. Yes, that's another reason why I don't watch TV shows because so much of like the conflict and the stuff happening is just so stupid and pointless
Hmm.
that it annoys me. So that makes me very happy to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely when you get access to Netflix, I'm sending you my username right now.
Oh my gosh, okay.
definitely,
That'll be
definitely check it out.
while I'm packing.
Yeah,
That's
definitely,
awesome.
definitely check it out. It is so good.
Okay,
Um,
I actually will look into it. Like seriously.
yeah, maybe after the podcast, I will show you the trailer just so you can kind of get an idea of what it is.
Oh, okay, I'm down. So while you check that out, something else I wanted to just briefly bring up because it's been a topic amongst my coworkers and many friends is how excited I am to travel this year. And obviously, that is assuming that we get COVID under control and
Hmm.
things are safe to reopen. But fingers crossed that that's possible. And I'm so excited to travel. I feel like travel is something that pretty much everybody loves and is enthusiastic about. in some way, whether it's international or just within the states or wherever you live, in your own country.
Mhm.
Uh, and it's something that I really have missed this last year. I didn't travel in 2019 just because I had just moved to Seattle and that was a very costly expense. So I had skipped the traveling for that year and I just thought I'd do it last year in 2020 and clearly 2020 was not having it. So I'm
Nope.
super excited to travel this year. Is that something that you're kind of looking forward to or are you not a big travel fan?
I love traveling. Do I get to do it very often? No, but when I do, I really enjoy it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I
Um,
feel like most people don't get to travel a lot. Like the average American, worker, I feel like doesn't get
yeah.
to travel a lot. Obviously, there's always the rich people who can do whatever they want. But
Well, it's
uh,
even more difficult for me now because I do work as a contractor in my current job. So days off means that I don't get paid. I don't have vacation time.
oh
Um,
yeah, oh that must be super hard.
it is very
Wow.
hard. So it's like I I probably have the funds right now to be able to travel someplace really nice, but I don't have like I would basically have to like double the funds in order to
Double it
like
because you won't have income, and then on
yeah.
top of spending money. Yeah. Oh, that's hard.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful. I do have PTO, thankfully. So,
Lucky.
um,
Stop bragging. Just kidding.
I know, I'm sorry. Well, something I'm actually gonna try and do, I'm still gonna plan on taking one international trip. That's my goal usually is
Mhm.
one international trip a year just because 'cause they're very costly, and obviously, if you're gonna be going and spending 12 hours traveling, you kinda have to be gone for longer because you're eating up a lot of time, but something I really wanna do this year specifically is I want to travel more around my own state. For those who don't know, I live in Seattle, Washington, and there's so much amazing stuff out here, so I really wanna try and support local businesses once they get opened back up, go and see new places, try new things, go to cool little mom and pop restaurants and stay at, little Airbnbs or bed and breakfast or whatever it is and kind of support
Mhm.
the local businesses. That way, it helps other people. I still get to see and do new things and, get that travel kick, but not have to spend a ton of money
Yeah.
and take a
No.
ton of time off.
Yeah, absolutely. We did actually have a trip planned for this year just like you did. But again 2020. We were going to go to LA for like an international championship. My roommate and Marcus, they sing barbershop competitively and they had their international championship was going to be in Los Angeles. I've visited Los Angeles several times. I love it. Um my understanding is that Shay doesn't love it so much, but nobody cares what
It's
she
not that I
thinks.
don't love it. I just, for me, I'm not a big fan of California. I feel like it's very overhyped. It's so overpriced. And I just feel like you don't, not that anywhere is really cheap to travel. Like you said, it's a very costly thing, but I feel like it's
Yeah.
just you don't get any bang for your buck. Housing or lodging is expensive. The Airbnbs are expensive. Food is expensive. Try like everything is expensive. At least a lot of places like New York. Okay, New York is my favorite place to travel. I've been there 6 times in my
Oh
lifetime,
wow.
and I will definitely go more. And like, yeah, the plane ticket is a little bit pricey because I'm literally going across the country, but you can get a decent hotel at a not awful price and you can get dirt cheap food. So like yes, my accommodations and my traveling there is on the pricier side, but I can find cheap or free activities and really cheap food that's delicious, like not crappy food, like good food. And you can't do that in California. Just everything in California is expensive. So I feel like if
I
you're going there,
disagree.
oh okay, educate me, educate me.
So actually, okay. So what I had done? So I'm one of those like really terrible people. I have no plan when I'm going to visit someplace. I just like arrive and I am here. I am traveling. That
I'm
is me.
here.
So the first time I had gone to LA, I actually went by myself.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, I so actually my first time on a plane. It was my first time pretty much traveling outside of like visiting family, and I decided to go to LA by myself. I had a lot of fun. Um, and I basically what I had done anytime I wanted to eat, like if I was getting hungry, it's like okay, I'm gonna go. I need to go find myself some lunch. I would literally just leave my hotel and just pick a direction and start walking and until I found a restaurant. And yes, some of the restaurants are very expensive. Some of them were so delicious, but very cheap. So I think I mean maybe I was just lucky. Maybe it was the area that I was staying in. I was staying very close to Koreatown.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why. Yes. Okay. Well, still though, that's nice. Good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting enough that you traveled on your own. A lot of people don't travel alone, which I know is just like a frightening thing.
Hmm.
My first travel experience alone was actually to Europe. It was terrifying. I had never done an international flight. I have anxiety just in general, but I have very bad anxiety with flying. I'm very much a control freak. So being in a plane in the air where I have no control of anything is just like terrifying to me. So having to do a 14-hour flight was not fun. And then, getting to London and not knowing their currency, the conversion
Yeah.
rate, and like thank God for phones and technology, but like still,
Yeah.
and not really knowing how things work over there, and it's just very different there.
So I
So I
do have.
appreciate that you've traveled alone.
I mean, you go into another country, I probably wouldn't have been able to do that by myself. But I do actually have a question. How did because I've never been out of country.
Mhm.
How did the conversion in the currencies work? Like, were you able to use your credit cards, or did you have to like get a special card? Did you have to like?
So it depends largely on your bank. I personally bank with Wells Fargo for my main banking account.
Okay.
And I actually did not end up using that card because they charge foreign transaction fees. So I also have a very old Credit One credit card. I don't even use it. Literally, I had no transactions on it in like 3 years. And I was like, hey, you know what? They have zero transaction fees. So I'm going to use it. So you can still use it. The thing that at least happened to me a lot, and this happened in Scotland, London, France, and Italy. I went to a bunch of
Uh-huh.
different places in France and Italy, so that's why I'm not naming like cities. But um, a lot of that, most of the time, actually, pretty much almost always, they would force you to like sign it. Like how normally when you use a debit or credit card, you just swipe or insert the chip, and then you kind of just like go. It
Yeah.
would like set off a flag in their system, and then they'd have to go get like either a special paper or like a receipt, and they would have to sign it and like verify all of my information. So there is that downside, but I personally did not want to withdraw any money,
Yeah.
just because with the conversion rate, I didn't want to have to deal with that and figure out what it was. I was like, credit card's easier, just put it on there. I'll deal with it when I get home. If I had been with somebody else, I probably honestly would have just withdrawn cash. But I do know that you can also just use your card and buy like a prepaid card once you get there if you don't want to have to deal with like the hassle of signing things and dealing with that. So you can do that. That's another option. Or, of course, just getting the local currency is probably the
Yeah.
easiest way.
Yeah, because
Um,
for some reason I always imagine that like in international airports, like there's like an office or like a kiosk that you go to, and it's like, okay, put in your money and we'll spit out the local currency. Like I don't
Yeah, the
know.
currency exchange places. Yeah. And I just because, like I said, I was going a bunch of different places. I wasn't staying in one. I was,
Hmm.
kind of hopping all over the place. That's why I didn't want to get one currency. I didn't have really set plans on what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know how much money I would need or if I would need any at all, other than accommodations and stuff like that. So that's why I personally did not choose to do that. But when I was in Scotland, I stayed with a friend, and as like kind of my way of like saying thanks for letting me stay with them, I made them like all their meals the entire time I was there since I'm a cook. I
Yeah.
It's so weird, but being that I used to be a chef, I'm like super interested in like foreign foods and cuisines and just the way that their stuff works in comparison to like crappy American food. And so literally every day, the first thing I would do is like when we would wake up, I would give them private time and I would walk down to the stores and I would, buy a bunch of stuff to cook with that day. And literally, I did it every day for the week that I was there. And it got to the point where the people at the checkout stands knew who I
Oh
was
wow.
and would come over when they saw me and just give me the pen and be like, just sign the paper and leave it. So I know most people probably aren't doing that kinds of thing, but it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, actually, I don't want to get super into it, but like one of the first long-term jobs that I had was actually at a credit card processor. So I can explain like very in depth if anybody wants to be bored to sleep, why you have to do the signing and all that stuff when you go to a foreign country and try to use your American credit card.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to ask you about that when we're off the podcast. I don't
Yeah.
think people want to listen. Do you
Oh,
have
it
like a
is
short, simple answer?
it is the most boring thing. Basically, it's
Okay.
just yeah, no, it's I used to have when the chip cards, when the chips and the credit cards first came out,
Hmm.
everybody, all of my friends was like, "Oh my gosh, I hate it so much. I hate it, blah, blah, blah," and everything. And it was like, I was working at a credit card processor when that was coming up, and I was like, well, you see, this is why I'm gonna like go on and on. Like one of them recorded me, and I was like it was so embarrassing.
That's funny though. Not just that I'm really excited to travel. I was going to ask if you have anywhere that you're hoping to go, warranting that COVID is calmed down by that time.
Um, I want my trip to LA.
Okay. Noted.
and and I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of places that I would love to travel to. Last year I was able to go to Salt Lake City, Utah, which was terrible. Sorry
Oh,
if you're from
terrible.
Salt Lake, but I did not have a good time. I mean, I had a good time with my roommate. It was the international championship for last year for their barbershop stuff. So I had a good time in that aspect, but the city itself was not great. Like I had never seen so many drug users just freely roaming around the streets.
Just walking around. Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, and the other city I was able to go to last year was Chicago for Pokemon Go Fest.
I'm so jealous. Chicago is the only place left I want to go in America.
It was beautiful. It was amazing. I walked so much. Like I think I would have to pull it up like to see the exact number, but I'm pretty sure that I had gotten like 20,000 steps in a single day. Like
Oh,
just
wow.
walking everywhere. It was a lot of fun. It was such a beautiful city. It was like cloudy enough that like you didn't really need sunscreen, but it was like clear enough that it was like nice to be outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Um and I've always wanted to visit New York actually, since you had mentioned it. I've always wanted to visit New York.
Ah, let me
Um
escort you around Manhattan.
New York is definitely on my list. Florida, I guess specifically like not really Miami. Um is that where's Disney World?
Oh gosh, I have no idea. I hate Disney.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
Disney
gonna get
World,
canceled so hard for that. I want to
Disney
see
World
the Harry.
Epcot.
Okay, I take that back. I want to go to Florida to see Harry Potter. I want to see the Harry Potter
You can go
world.
to LA and go to Harry Potter World.
Is it the
Come
same
on.
exact thing though? Is it like the same
I
experience?
think I would say that it's probably a similar experience. I think the one in Florida is they have so the one in LA, they have Hogsmeade and Hogwarts.
Hmm.
I think the one in Florida has Hogsmeade, Hogwarts, and a third location, but it's not that much bigger.
Okay. 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 Well, then never mind. Cancel Florida. I'm just gonna stick with California.
And honestly, like the Universal Studios in California, I think it has a lot more. Like the rest of the park is a lot more robust.
Okay. Well, no. See, this is why I want to talk about it. Get all those travel tips from one another. Steal all
But
your ideas.
yes, so I want to visit Florida. I have a few friends in Florida that I would love to visit. And I mean that's all in country. If we were talking out of country, I would love to visit Greece.
Ooh. Okay.
Um, Italy, I guess, have some
Yes.
real
Italy.
pasta.
Oh my god. Okay, you haven't lived until you've had real pasta. For everybody who's saying like, "Oh yeah, no, the dry pot." No,
No, it's
you
not.
haven't lived. It's not even comparable. Not even in the slightest. Italy ruined pasta for me. I do not eat pasta
Really?
anymore. There is one brand that I'll buy from Costco.
American
That
Beauty.
is that. What did I have no idea?
No, the American
I
Beauty is like the
honestly just
really cheap, horrible one. I was
Oh, okay. Well, no,
joking.
just any kind of like grocery store pasta, I don't buy. The pasta that I get from Costco is like supposedly made in Italy, but it's got like weird shapes. So the texture is correct, but I can't do like just normal stuff from the grocery store anymore. It's awful.
I've always wanted to make my own pasta.
It's so easy. It's four ingredients.
Yeah, I just time. Come on.
Yeah, it does. It takes a lot of time. You're
Yeah.
right. Okay, that's fair. It's
Um.
worth it though. I'm telling you.
No. Yeah. One of these days, definitely gonna do it. I mean, I went all. out and 1,000,000% for Thanksgiving, I can
I
go all out
remember.
for a single dinner.
Mhm. I remember I was jealous of you single-handedly inspired me to cook this year for Thanksgiving. I
Oh.
had no intentions of, and you displayed your feast and I went and got stuff because I was so jealous.
Oh. Well, I'm happy to have done that. But we went crazy for Thanksgiving, but I enjoyed every single moment. I love cooking, um, and I love eating food, so it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I feel like the majority of the places that I would like to visit out of country are just like I would like to go there to eat food.
Same. Yep. And see, that's okay. So a lot of people ask why you would want to be a chef, and I can tell you it is a garbage industry to work in. Don't do it. However, I will say that I'm still very passionate about it, and food is an international language. It is something that you can connect with people over,
Yep.
whether they're the same race, the same gender, the same religion. Everybody likes to eat good food. Everybody enjoys sitting around a table and having a conversation with good food. And I can tell you in Italy and in France, I had no idea what anybody was saying. I don't speak French or Italian, but we all were just having a great old time. And that's why I feel like so many people are passionate about food. It's delicious. It's great.
Yeah.
People are great. The experience is great. Food is definitely a universal language. And
Yeah.
so I feel like that's kind of ties into everybody wanting to travel. A lot of people say the same thing. They want to go to a country partially just to eat.
Yes. Yes, that's me. I would love to go eat around the world.
Oh, can you imagine eating around the world? I would love someone please make a restaurant from with like filled with authentic people. Find good authentic chefs and make a restaurant and have it be like a taste of the world and just have like 4 or 5 dishes from each place, maybe like one appetizer
Mhm.
and like two entrees or something. I don't know. But like and just have it be like actual, real, authentic food. Please, for the love of God. I will eat there. I don't care how
Yes.
much it costs, please.
Yeah, I would probably eat there once. I mean, just
Once.
because I assume that's gonna be very expensive, but
Well, okay, but
it
see, here's the thing, right? It doesn't have to be.
doesn't
Food
have to
is
be.
food is food. Food is fairly cheap to make. What
Mhm.
you're paying for is the time of the cooks and the servers and the atmosphere of the building and all that. So it doesn't need to be overpriced. Anybody who thinks like that fancy food needs to be expensive, it really doesn't. It's just people wanting to make more money.
No, I agree, 100%.
Yeah. But I do agree that whoever was going to do that concept probably would make things overpriced.
Yeah.
Let's just do it
But
ourselves.
yeah, let's do it. Hell yeah. We can
Oh yeah?
I have a
I don't think you
garage.
realize
I have a
the
garage I can
undertaking.
No, I don't. No, I
Yeah.
do. I do. I don't want to. Restaurants, I mean, especially restaurants. Everything that I've heard about opening a restaurant has always been like, don't expect to make money for the first 3 years because you're like,
So that's accurate. And do you want to know why? That's a really hilarious statement. As
why?
someone who worked in restaurant industry for 10 years, yes, you're not expected to make any money at all for the first 3 years, and you're not actually going to profit for the first five
Uh
at
huh.
least. And that's if you're good and you know what you're doing. But the really funny part is that 97% of restaurants close within the first 3 years. And then out of the 3% that survive, another 90% of those will close within the next 5 years. So you've actually got to be part of that 3% that manages to stay open for 3 years in order to
Yeah.
actually maybe be able to profit. People don't realize that logistically, it has been statistically proven that restaurants are the easiest business to start up and the least likely to succeed.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, I like those odds. Let's open up this restaurant
Oh,
chain.
oh, I'm glad you like them. I will 1000% do all the work, but you have to fund.
Oh God, I have 50 cents.
It makes sense. And we're going to go far. We're going to go very far with this endeavor. If you are listening on Spotify or any of the other wonderful sites that this is going to be posted on, let us know if you're interested. Come say hi to Memo on his social media
Yes.
and let us know if you want to invest with us on this.
MEmoFlakes on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, everywhere. Contact me. I love talking to people.
Yeah, give him a follow. He's active. He says hi. He actually engages in people.
Um, so yeah, traveling gonna be super fun if we can afford it.
If we can afford it and if things are safe and if we don't enter civil war this year.
Yes. Oh God.
uh, yeah, but I think we're out of time, aren't we? Or can we keep going?
I think we have about 10 minutes.
About 10 minutes. Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure we weren't going over. Um, Ooh, sorry, I'm excited for traveling now. I'm thinking about it. Speaking of New York, you should go to New York with me.
I would love to go to New York.
Oh, really? Okay, I'm
Yes.
1000% going to take you up on that because I was supposed to go in October because
Yeah.
we had thought that things would be open by then, and then it wasn't, so we had to cancel our trip, and I'm desperate,
Yeah.
very desperate. Um, New York honestly is pretty cheap. I know a lot of people say it's expensive, and yes, the hotels generally are pretty expensive, but they've seen a huge drop in price because of COVID. So we could probably do it pretty affordably. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying no.
Okay, good. I'm you take me to California, and I'll take you to New York.
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah, awesome. I'm down like a clown. Oh man. But is there anything else that you're kind of looking forward to this year otherwise?
Um, looking forward to this year. I feel like the other thing that I was pretty hyped about, I guess. I mean, one of them obviously in a couple weeks, The Medium is coming out. It's a video game that I'm very excited about, and I think we talked about it just a little bit last week's podcast. It's coming ever closer. It's one of the biggest things, and actually the reason why I am so hyped about this game is because it's the same music. What is it? Not conductor. What is it? What's the word I'm looking for?
Oh gosh,
They write the
conductor.
music. They write the music.
Composer?
Composer. That's it.
Okay.
It's a music composer as Silent Hill. And if you know anything about me, you would know that Silent Hill, hands down, my favorite video game series ever. Um,
Ever. Wow.
yes,
Okay.
yes, 100%. The music composer, basically after Silent Hill, the has a very long history, has passed through several hands, but arguably the when it was at its peak, it was with Team Silent, which was the original group of people that made it. The composer of Silent Hill did the music for all of the games made by Team Silent. He's
Oh,
he made the music for The Medium.
okay.
Um, they recently released like a 14-minute preview of the gameplay for The Medium, and oh my gosh, amazing. The music is great, the gameplay looks great, everything. Whew. Yeah, I'm so excited for it. It comes out the 28th. I will be
Oh, it's
streaming
coming
it.
out soon this month.
Yes.
Okay. Wow, I forgot how soon it was coming up.
I will be streaming it on Twitch. I'm going to be playing that shit so much.
So much.
I'm so excited.
What is the premise of the game? I know it's a horror, and I know that it's kind of like an exploration, and you have to kind of like figure out, mysteries and stuff like that, and solve puzzles. Is it like a survival game or?
So the details of the story are a little bit vague from what I've seen. Basically, you play this woman. I think her name is Marianne.
Mhm.
She's a medium, the titular medium. She basically has the ability to see into the spirit world, and you she uses her abilities to like solve crimes and everything. And my understanding of it is that it kind of starts out as like her going to like haunted places to investigate things, and then it turns into a bigger story. Um,
Oh,
the
okay. That
four
sounds super interesting, actually.
Yeah, so like the 14-minute gameplay footage that they released, she goes to a haunted motel or like a haunted hotel that's like, kind of like been abandoned and everything. And one of the biggest like gameplay slash story elements of it is that because she can see into the spirit world, what'll happen every so often in game is like it'll like cut the screen in half, and it'll be the regular world and the spirit world like rendered simultaneously on screen. And
Oh,
And so basically you have to solve puzzles, like interacting with things in both of the worlds at the same time.
that sounds okay. I'm actually genuinely interested in this.
The one thing that really has me scared about that is my computer going to be able to render these two worlds at the same time? But we'll
I'm
have to
sure it
see.
will be. Yeah,
But yeah,
just
basically,
shut
so
everything.
like in the gameplay video that they released, she meets this girl in the spirit world named Sadness, and
Oh,
um
okay.
and she yeah so and the game kind of clarifies the only reason her name is Sadness is because it's all she remembers from before she died.
Oh, okay. Like a literal
So
name. Okay.
yeah, exactly. So like basically, Sadness is trying to show you like this guy that the main character is looking for, but she like runs up these stairs that in the real world have been destroyed. But in the spirit world, they're there. But like the character has to be able to transverse that in both worlds in order to get up. So you have to like find alternate routes in both of the worlds to get up the stairs.
Oh, that's super neat. Okay. I see.
Yeah,
I love unique games like that. It sounds like it's going to be super interesting.
so excited.
I feel like when you have good gameplay and good core mechanics like that, even if the story kind of isn't super interesting, it's still going to be like a just super fun thing to play.
I think the thing for me is that it was definitely giving off a lot of Silent Hill vibes, and that is be still my beating heart.
Oh yeah, big fan.
Yes, oh my gosh, I love Silent Hill, and it's been a very long time since we've had a Silent Hill game, let alone a good Silent Hill game,
Hmm. Yeah.
because the last couple Silent Hill games not good, very not good. So I'm just excited. I know that this has nothing to do with like the original Team Silent or anything like that. It's not even made by Konami, who made the original Silent Hill games. Um, but it does look like it's basically capturing that essence that it has been oh so missing from my life.
Yeah, I think that's something we didn't really get many good games last year, so I'm very excited to have some good ones this year. And again,
Um,
hoping that, things can reopen, just more entertainment stuff, conventions and whatnot.
how dare you? We had several amazing games last year.
What? Like what?
Animal Crossing.
Did Animal Crossing come out last year?
Yeah, it came out in 2020. It came out in March.
Oh my. Well, okay, I
Like
digress.
literally right at the beginning of the pandemic.
I don't know.
Animal Crossing, Hades, amazing game. I have not played that game enough, and I've played it for so many hours. Um, those are the only two that are coming to mind right
I was gonna say,
now.
yeah, where's that list of great games?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of really good contenders for Game of the Year. I just can't remember exactly which ones. Yakuza Like a Dragon came out this year. Um,
Oh, didn't Death Stranding come out this year?
Death Stranding came out. Let's see, it might have come
I'm
out.
98% positive because didn't it win Game of the Year?
I think it won the Game of the Year last year.
No, that just happened.
Did it?
Am I crazy? I don't know.
I'm looking it up. Let's see. It was released on PlayStation 4 in November 2019, and it was released for Windows in July 2020.
Oh, interesting. Okay. That's a big difference.
Yeah, I played it on PC. I really enjoyed it. Uh, One small critique when it comes to Kojima, and I know that I'm going to be attacked for saying this, but you're you have really interesting stories. You don't need to up the convolution every single chapter.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like they're great games. They're super fun. The stories are really interesting, but then it's like then he does this thing where it's like I need to top how confusing and how you know over the top this story is.
Hmm.
And it's just like then it just kind of gets out of control and you for me at least, I definitely lost interest in the story after a while because it was
Yeah.
just
I
so
mean,
difficult to follow.
that's what I was gonna say. From what I know I didn't play it myself personally, but from what I have heard from friends and coworkers who did play it, everybody was kind of 50-50. Everybody either was like you and kind of was just frustrated because it didn't make a ton of sense. And then everybody else was like, I was so confused. Like, I had no idea what was going on and this and that. And they were thrilled about it. So I feel like that's
Yeah.
kind of a double edged sword in a way.
Yeah. I mean, so Hideo Kojima was actually the person that was going to make the next Silent Hill game, kind of wrapping back around to that, oddly enough. He was going to make before he left Konami, he was gonna make Silent Hills, plural,
Ah, PT.
PT.
Yeah, the PT that they released, and it was supposed to look like a separate game, but it was really just a trailer
It was a playable
for
trailer
Silent Hills.
for Silent Hill. I loved the PT playable trailer. I was worried that he was going to make Silent Hill overly, because I mean, okay, so Silent Hill story, admittedly, very convoluted, very confusing, doesn't really provide a whole lot of answers. I was just worried that Kojima was going to overdo it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because like as many questions as there are in Silent Hill, there are answers, and I just kind of feel like Kojima doesn't give as many answers as he makes questions in his
Yeah,
games.
that's definitely his style for sure,
Yeah,
to say the
and
least.
yeah, and I was kind of worried that he was going to take it too far in Silent Hill. Um, I could have been completely wrong. It could have been an amazing game. Unfortunately, it was canceled. Um, but PT Forever will be probably the scariest game I've ever played, and it's not
Honestly,
even a real
I feel
game.
like PT is one of the best horror. I don't know if you can call it a horror game because it was like a trailer,
Experience?
but yes, the best horror experience. I don't know anybody who was not just thrilled and just so like when it came out, it blew up, but it blew up because it was great. It
Yes.
had every type of horror. It had subtlety. It had jump scares. It had the puzzles. I know that some people got a little frustrated with the puzzles, but at the end of the day, some people just aren't great with puzzles. It was fantastic, and honestly, I I was a little bit disappointed when it came out that it wasn't actually going to become a game. That it was actually
Yeah.
just a playable trailer for Silent Hills. I don't know if you've ever played it, but there's a game that's called Visage, which is very heavily. I don't want to say inspired because I don't know if it's inspired, but it's very similar to Visage. I'm going to assume it was heavily inspired by
Do you
it.
want to hear something crazy?
Mhm.
I literally just bought that game like the other day.
No, you didn't. I'm
I
so
was
okay. Please tell me you're gonna play it on stream.
I was gonna play it on stream.
Okay, I will actually be upset with you if you don't play it on stream.
I know, okay, no, absolutely. I was gonna play it right away because it was like 20% off, and like I remember like being really excited for that game, but it was like I'm excited for this game, but do I think it's worth $35? I don't know. And I didn't really like watch anything or anything like that. I didn't really like follow up on my interest in it. And then I saw that it was 20% off and I was like, I would buy it for $27 or whatever it came out to be. And so I bought it. And I
Mhm.
was literally like, I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna play it on stream. Like 100%. I just bought it the other day.
I'm so excited for it. I think it's great. Um, it's really good. It's super good, and they're adding to it. It's not like all the way out yet, so there will always be more. And it's great that you got it at a discount.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to pay full price for it. Just because who likes to pay full price for things? But yeah, I'm super excited about that. For those who are listening that don't know, Mimo also plays video games over on his Twitch channel, and he does that obviously live, being that it's a streaming service.
Live.
So
And I actually talk to people. I I
I
love everybody
actually
who
talk to
watches.
people.
No, but what I mean is like we record this live on my Twitch, so you can tune in and watch us while we're recording the podcast episode. But I completely ignore my chat because we're doing this episode live. But however, that's actually kind of segueing into the announcement. Unfortunately, this is actually going to be the last time that we do a live MEmoTalks episode on the Twitch stream stream
Hmm.
channel.
Yeah, on the stream on Twitch. This will be the last time that we are going to be recording it live on Twitch at the same time. Obviously, we'll still record these live and then post them, but you will not be able to view it on Twitch anymore.
Yes, you will be able to view it when they are posted on Spotify, Google Podcasts. What is the list? We have a list of the
I believe
places
it's
it's
Google
available.
Podcasts, Breakers, Radio Public, and Spotify.
Yes. And I do also upload the video of the podcast on my YouTube channel, also MEmoFlakes. Um, so you'll be able to watch them there, but we're not going to record them live on the Twitch stream anymore. So this one's going to be the last time. Um, so yeah, I guess that being said, we've reached our time, and I think that's probably a good place as any to end the episode. Did you want to say anything else before we sign off?
No, that was it. Thanks to everybody for listening.
Yeah, thank you everybody so much for your continued support. Thank you to our sponsors, and have a great week. Don't let's try to survive till next week so that we can have another amazing show like this.
Yeah, no drama this week, please. That'd be
No
great.
drama. Let's have 1 week. Let's have 1 week without domestic terrorists trying to
Yeah.
overthrow our government. But
I mean,
fingers crossed. All we
we
can
had
do is
said
hope.
2021 was going to be different, and then literally the very first week.
I mean,
that
different as in it's just escalated more, but
Yeah, but that'll be fine.
right, yeah,
And
we'll
we'll see you
survive.
next
Yeah,
week.
spread love, everybody. Have a good night.